All right, so I mentioned I knew a lot about the Harden-Simmons trade. And I never ended up doing on the pod. And then Chris Vernon's been badgering me for 10 days. This is what I heard. And I've had pretty good intel throughout this whole thing. This is what I was hearing in the moment. That Embiid really wanted Bradley Beal and was pushing really hard for it and was talking to him all the time and was pushing. And part of the reason the trade stuff took so long was because there was a Sixers side that wanted Harden, obviously Daryl, because Harden's his guy. But Embiid really wanted Beal because he felt like he was a better fit and was pushing. Then Beal gets hurt. But then the Sixers are still pushing. I mean, I'm sorry, Embiid is still pushing. No, Beal, still working on him. And then Beal's like, I'm out. And he gets surgery. And then that's how we end up with the Harden situation. So that was one piece.
Wow.
The second piece, Harden saying that Philly was his first choice all along is just not true. Because him and Durant together were badgering people in the Nets front office and higher to make the Harden trade during that. Remember that? 72 hours when then all of a sudden Nets like, all right, fine. Jared Allen's in it now and here's more picks. And they kind of upped their offer. It was because of Harden and KD together.
Well, I remember maybe a month before that trade, me and Ramona and Woj all put our reporting together. And it was just a short news piece, but it was about, I don't know if it was a month before the trade, but it was well before the trade. It was about how Harden had his eyes set on Brooklyn because that's what we had all been hearing. And so I first choice, whatever. I mean, he wanted to go to Brooklyn. I don't know if he wanted to go to Brooklyn more than he wanted to go to Philly.
But you heard his press conference, right? He said it was my first choice all along. It's just not true. That's not how it played out the month leading up to that first trade.
People say stuff.
That's not
press
true.
Conferences.
He wanted to go to Brooklyn, which leads to the third piece of this. All right, so what happened? And I know a lot of people have written a lot of different things about this, but the part of it that I haven't really seen people discuss properly, and it's weird. I think there's parallels to when KD was on the Warriors, a topic that we talked about a lot, where KD is the Finals MVP. He toe-to-toe with LeBron. He's the best player in that series, but it's still kind of Curry's team. And at some point between year one and year three, when he decides it's time for me to go, I will always think the big driving force of this was like, Steph's the guy here. This is his team. It's his franchise. Everyone caters to Steph. And I want my own team. And I'm not even saying that's a selfish thing. What
about I will never I won these 2 titles and finals MVPs, but I'm not treated. These aren't being counted as quote unquote real championships because our team was too loaded.
100%. You have that too. You have all that stuff, and he starts thinking about that, and he's realizing, like, if I stay here, I'm always going to be on Steph's team. I'm never going to get the full credit for what I deserve. I need my own team. And he, falls in basketball love with Kyrie, and the rest is history. Harden goes to Brooklyn. You did a lot of reporting on this because you're more connected with everyone in the Nets than anybody I know. Harden's like the leader of the team last year, right? He's like the rock of the team. He's doing everything. He's actually dipping into this side of Harden that we kind of didn't realize. We were starting to reevaluate, what do we think of him as a player? That, whoa, he can do this too? It's like, Jesus.
Well, we had a whole thing about, what do we think? Is there any precedent for a player getting traded in season
and possibly winning
the MVP in that same season? Like, are we okay with that, the way it happened? And I ultimately was like, I think it would take a lot to get there, but that's how good he was.
So KD is selling Harden on, no, come here. This is going to be amazing. We're going to be the best offensive team of all time. Hey, what about Kyrie? No, he's great. You'll love him. So then a lot of Kyrie time and exposure. By the summer, I think Harden's wondering like, now the COVID stuff's coming in. Now Kyrie's saying, I'm not going to play if I'm not vaccinated. Harden, this is a KD Kyrie team, right? Would you say those are the people we all know players drive franchises? This is a KD Kyrie team. Harden's on the outside. It's not a James Harden team. He's the guy that got brought in to help the team win. But ultimately, it's a KD Kyrie team. They're the ones who tell the Nets, you can't put DeAndre Jordan in the deal, trade Jared Allen. DeAndre's our guy, stuff like that. At some point, Harden starts to get into the same spot that KD was in on the Warriors. This is never going to be my team. They put up with all this Kyrie bullshit. Meanwhile, I'm out here. My hamstring's still not feeling 100%. I'm playing hurt. This guy won't even play. And now the seeds of discontent start. And then you have the people coming in. They can sense it. He says a couple things to whoever, like fucking Kyrie won't play. Now you got like Meek Mill, like, you should come to Philly. That'd be great. And because the NBA has turned into, 10th grade, you can easily just switch friend groups, right? So now it's like, oh, Philly. Yeah, I could just go there. And we just go down that road, because what's clear in the last month when Harden was on Brooklyn was he was kind of an outcast, right? He distanced himself at least a little bit from everybody else. And you could see it on the court. You could see it when you watched him. And he started to check out. And I think that's what happened. I don't think it was one thing. I don't think it was a smoking gun. I think it was a slow realization. This will never be my team. I could go to Philly. It's me and Embiid. My guy Michael Rubin's there. My guy Meek Mill's there. My guy Daryl's there. Daryl loves me more than anyone. And this can be my team. And that's how it happens. What do you think? I laid out my whole case. What do you think?
Two things. Number one, it's Joel Embiid's team, and it's Joel Embiid's city. So if you think you're going to go in and make it James Harden's team and James Harden's city, you are mistaken. That is not going to happen. It's Joel Embiid's team. It's his city. Now you can be the leading
I agree with you, which is why this is going to be so fascinating, because I think Harden's in the same situation he was just in, but doesn't realize it yet.
Well, but I just don't understand. It was not hard. And I don't know all that went into Kevin Durant's decision to sign with the Warriors and all that went into his decision to leave. Like, we can speculate. I can go back and read his interviews, whatever. I just don't know how you could think I'm going to go there. And I'm not saying he thought this, but it was obviously, no matter who goes there, that's Steph's team forever. That was the case in 2016. That's the case now. That's the case in 3 years. It's his team. It doesn't this. Joel Embiid is the process. That's who he is. This is his franchise. It's never going to be anybody else's. Giannis could go there and it's Embiid's team. Luka could go there and it's Embiid's team. That's just how this works. Like, Dallas was always going to be Dirk's team. No matter who went there alongside him, it's their team. The other thing is,
well, the only people that figured that out was KG and Pierce, because Pierce didn't have the chips yet. So they figured out how to basically split this is his team thing. Anyway, go ahead.
The other thing is, like, you all the intel, this Harden-Simmons thing has the intel, as you know, is just all over the place. The rumors were all over the place. You'd hear one thing and then the next thing would contradict it. You'd hear this and that and all the rumors were everywhere. No matter what, no matter how many conversations I have that say this is true or say it's exaggerated or say it's not true, I will never, ever, ever believe anything but that if Kyrie were just playing, this would have all been fine. Like, I believe that.
I think you're right.
I will always believe that. I don't care who poo-poos it at press conferences. I don't care who poo-poos it behind closed doors. If Kyrie Irving were playing, in my gut, in my soul, I think the Nets are like 50-10 or 45-15 and rolling, and everyone's happy, and there is no James Harden trade, and they're the title favorites right now.
I 100% agree. That's the thing with this stuff. It is a bunch of small baby steps that all of a sudden leads to a result that you might not expect.